What is the book of Ezekiel? Well, Ezekiel was written by the prophet Ezekiel around the 6th century BC. And what's interesting about this is that Ezekiel wasn't just putting his name on it so that we know who wrote it, but because it was the general pattern of prophets in Israel to identify themselves so that they could be held accountable if they ever failed the standard of the first prophet of Israel, Moses. The background of the book is also fascinating because alongside the prophet Daniel, Ezekiel was with the group of Hebrews who were taken into captivity peacefully before judgment took place on the city of Jerusalem, as well as the remaining kingdom of Israel, in the 6th century BC at the hands of the kingdom of Babylon specifically. While the prophet Jeremiah observed the judgment while he was in Jerusalem, Ezekiel served as his contemporary, meaning he wrote at the same time, reporting the exact same things despite being hundreds of miles away. Now, the genre of literature that this book is written in is that of prophecy. God's perspective is what's brought into focus here. And Ezekiel, like all other authors of the Bible, were held to a standard that was due someone who is claiming to speak on behalf of God. The standard that Moses put forward on how they would test that was that they would be accurate in what they reported, consistent in how they presented God, accountable for what they claimed, thus his name being penned along with it, and being able to perform public miracles in order to be considered, again, the Word of God, to be verified as such. Him predicting and acting out in a very amusing way the length of the Babylonian siege of Jerusalem, despite him being on the opposite end of the Fertile Crescent, is just one of the miracles that he performed that verified his priesthood and prophethood. And it's also worth noting that Ezekiel's first vision actually broke a common assumption about the ancient world and a nation's gods being bound to their borders. God's ministry, of course, through Ezekiel began with a reminder that he was as present with his people in Babylon as they would have him in Israel. And how Ezekiel was being called to a prophet, believe it or not, uses the exact same phrasing and how Jesus commissioned the Apostle Paul on the road to Damascus. That's the book of Ezekiel.